So welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're taking a bit of a dive into the grim dark of the 41st millennia, and we're going to be painting up some Tyranids. So these ones are going to be based off of Hive Fleet Kraken. Two different styles. One, it's not quite the 90s, but it's inspired by, and then one was from a later edition. Unfortunately, as it says there, that bit of footage was lost. But you don't really miss too much. It was just the base layers. So after you've done your base layers, it's time to put black and brown wash over them. Pretty straightforward, kind of similar to what I do with most of my minis. I like to block in all the base colours first, then do the wash and then build up from there. So yeah, it was just quite a straightforward approach. Both of the minis are using the same colours. So it was red for the flesh on the first and red for the carapace on the second, and then it was the game colour bone white for the carapace on the second and the flesh on the first, and that was it. Next up we'd be highlighting the red colours, and for that I'm using model colour bright orange. Just carefully working around the edge of the carapace in this case. I did the extreme ridge lines, but then also I believe the technique is called feathering, where you just kind of slightly feather. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to explain it, but just feather the paint around the edges as well, and it gives a bit of variation between the two, not such a stark line, more of a blending between the red and the orange on the edge. Overall, these minis are pretty, I mean, although these ones I brought them in a bulk load, so they're not the new miniatures, they are probably, I don't know, 5, 10 years old. They're still good sculpts. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them whatsoever. And so I'm pretty happy with the block. As for the talons here, so I started, as I said, with red. Again, that's crimson red. And that's any of the sort of sharp hooks and claws. I've just gone over with the crimson red. It stands out pretty nicely. And then we've got the second miniature, which is mainly sort of flesh red. So this is crimson red again, and it just highlights along all of the upper raised areas, and just try and let the original colour with its wash do as much of the shading as possible. For these miniatures, I'm painting them in a way that I would if I were building an army, and that is that all of your grunts, gaunts, infantry, whatever you want to call them, I don't want to spend too long on them. I want to be able to do my miniatures the same when I do like World War II or any other period. I want to try and spend as little amount of time on them as possible to get a good look and get them tabletop ready. They're not the sort of miniatures that I'm going to be entering into a competition, so it's literally minimal colours, minimal time, just to get them looking good en masse on the table. Then we've got the flesh and the carapace, depending on the miniature, which needs highlighting, using game colour bone white. And again, exact same sort of technique as before. So just run it gently over all of the raised areas, avoiding the recesses. And again, just use those sort of natural highlights of the miniature and allow where the washes went into the shadows to remain dark. I'd say the key point is don't labour the point. Get in, get off, get out. Yeah. If you were doing a command figure, then yeah, I always want to spend more time on those. But for the average soldier, what's the point? But I have always liked this paint scheme. I can't remember which edition it came out in. Maybe the second edition Tyranid Codex, I think. But I can't remember what year that was. Maybe the early 2000s. But I always thought this was quite a cool looking paint scheme. So it's taken me long enough to get around to doing it, but I'm quite glad that I've got there in the end. But also I did like the original early 90s paint scheme for the Tyranids. I thought that was pretty interesting. And so it has been quite a fun project to actually try and paint some of those up. I haven't been using the original colours, I've just been using what I have to hand. But it gives you the effect, at least the effect that I'm going for, sort of a reimagining of them. So it's been a fun process. I do have quite a large collection of different miniatures, so I've got the Tyranids, the Space Marines, Orcs. So the plan is that over the coming weeks, but more likely coming months, I will slowly but surely be painting up different colour schemes for the different armies. So if you've got any ideas of paint schemes you want me to do, let me know, and I will work on those. I've got enough miniatures, so yeah, the more ideas you give me, the better. But yeah, that's coming up over the next few months. Warhammer isn't going to take over. Probably the emphasis of my channel is still going to be historical miniatures, real world miniatures, but it is a wargaming channel, so there will be some of these to come. So anyway, I hope you enjoy them. If you don't, don't unsubscribe, because the majority is still going to be crafting and painting of historicals. I always like feedback and comments, so please be positive. Please let me know what you think, and let me know what you want to see next, and I always try to do whatever you guys want. Anyway, nearly there. So yeah, with them actually all finished up, I'm pretty happy with the way they look. I mean, both styles came out pretty nicely, and I'd be more than happy to have an army painted up in either paint scheme. But I think probably the second version there is probably my preferred of the two. Anyway, let me know what you think below. I'd be always interested to hear what you guys say. But until next time, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you then.